All right, everybody. How you doing? Back in another episode for you. Now, by the time you're looking at this, you'll probably see I have a Patriots schedule release episode up. So I had to do one for the Falcons. Look, if you don't know, if it's your first time on the channel, let me explain really quickly. Born and raised Boston, Massachusetts, Patriots fan through and through, have been my whole life. Live in the Atlanta area now, been down here long enough that I pay attention to Atlanta sports as well. So, like I said, I'm a Patriots fan, hardcore. The Falcons are my adoptive team, I guess you'd say. So, got to do an episode for them because I do think that they're in an interesting situation with what's gone on in their division, how bad the division was last year. This year, the division once again is up in the air because there's a lot of question marks with these teams. We're going to go through the schedule, see if the Falcons could navigate this and possibly be a playoff team. As I said in the Patriots episode, I'm not going to give you season prediction just yet. I'll say that for later in the offseason. Give me a chance to kind of find out, what rookies will be on the team. If there's like a surprise cut or something that might change my mind about a game or two, save it till then, and we'll see how my predictions go. I just have to remember to come back to it at the end of the season, see how my predictions were. But let's go ahead and pull up the old side by side here, and there's the Falcons schedule. But I have to mention the preseason they played Dolphins, Bengals, and Steelers. I mean, I guess for the Dolphins, this is going to be the first game, so you probably won't see a lot in that game. But it would be good to see, I guess, Ritter out there with the team now that he currently is tabbed to be the number one guy. Because I think there's still some people who think a decision could be made at the quarterback position in terms of bringing somebody in or whatever. But for the time being, going forward with Ritter as a starter, Steelers. So 3 good preseason games. They're preseason, so whatever. The main question: how tough will the regular season be? So looking at this, look, you get week 1, you get to see, once again, assuming Bryce Young with Carolina to open the season September 10th. I think Carolina has a really good defense, depending on Bryce Young's development through the offseason, preseason. We'll see what he looks like week 1. I think Carolina's come out and said that. Who's the veteran quarterback down there? His name just slipped my mind. They brought in a veteran quarterback because it's not Sam Darnold anymore. I think he's out in San Francisco. But who is the quarterback? But they have a veteran quarterback down there. I think Carolina came out and said that for right now, Bryce Young is the backup. But we know that's just team speak. Fully expect Bryce Young to be the quarterback week 1. So you get to see him right away. Cool. I'm literally looking up who the Carolina Panthers quarterbacks are. Because I know they signed somebody. I'll bring it up right now. Dalton. That's who it is. Andy Dalton. Good old Red Rocket. Look, if you wanted Bryce Young to learn for a couple of weeks, Andy Dalton isn't the worst guy to put out there. I'm assuming it's Bryce Young. Then you go from Bryce Young, you get a look at Jordan Love. It's now Jordan Love's Packers with Aaron Rodgers moving on to the Jets. That could be an interesting matchup. They have Christian Watson at wide receiver. They still have their two-headed monsters in the backfield. It's Adam Jones and A.J. Dillon. I mean, Aaron Jones. I said Adam Jones. It's Aaron Jones. My fault. I guess I was thinking about Pac-Man, Adam Jones. I don't know. But Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon in the backfield could be an interesting game there. Then you get Detroit. Detroit's a team I have an eye on. They had a really good year last year, but they probably snuck up on a lot of people. Now this year, people are going to be expecting it. Can Goff repeat his performance from last year? Will this offense be as high powered as they were last year? I don't think by this time Hendon Hooker would be in play because he's still recovered from the ACL, but they did draft Hendon Hooker. I think it's a really good spot for him. You know, Goff struggles anyway. We could see Hendon Hooker this season in Detroit, but getting sidetracked. I think that's going to be a fun game as well. You get Jacksonville over in London, October 1st. So that's going to be a challenge. Get to see old friend Calvin Ridley. Remember him? He is now a Jacksonville Jaguar. Assuming Ridley's playing at that point, it'll be interesting to see the Falcons defense going up against a guy that they saw in practice for several years. So right there, first 4 games, get some good storylines in there already. Then you get Houston. You get to see CJ Stroud as well. Look, like I said, I'm not doing predictions or anything, but so far, kind of manageable for the Falcons. Then you get to Washington. At this point, I guess Sam Howell's their quarterback, but it's the first year under Eric Bieniemy running the offense. We'll see what system he does with that team. Scary Terry, always love watching him. So that's going to be a really interesting game as well. Then you get Baker Mayfield and the new look Bucks down in Tampa, which last season was the controversial game where they lost it late in the game. So back to the scene of the crime there on October 22nd. Divisional games in this division, like I said, a lot of questions with each of these teams. Those games are all up in the air to me. Then you get Tennessee October 29th. You could be seeing Will Levis at that point. So far, the Falcons are basically getting all the young quarterbacks who were drafted this year. Can they use that to their advantage? I would think so, but we'd have to see. Then you got Minnesota. First look at Jordan Addison, who's going to be on the opposite side of Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, we already know, is a handful. So that's going to be interesting to see with the defense going up against those two. A.J. Terrell will be guarding one. The other one, they brought in Okuda, but I think he's more of a slot corner. They drafted a corner. Look, I got so many football names running in my head. I'm literally losing track of who they have at corner. But that's going to be a challenge for the secondary. Because, like I said, Addison, who I think will be really good. But, by this point, it's week 9, so he's kind of found his footing. Justin Jefferson will take a lot of the attention off of him. Addison could be having a really good season at this point. So let's see. Hold on. I was looking up the cornerbacks again. I had to do it. All right, so it was Okuda. Okay. I don't think I had somebody else. But yeah, so it's Okuda. Okay. But yeah, it's going to be a challenge. Then right before the bye, you get the Cardinals. The Cardinals, look, they got their own issues. They were a dumpster fire last year. Kyler Murray's hurt. I'm assuming he's probably going to miss most of this year. Maybe we make some speedy recovery. I doubt he's playing at this point, but like I said, not making game predictions, but that looks like a W right now. Because I don't know who's going to be their quarterback. I don't know. DeAndre Hopkins at this point could be gone. He could be pouting. Arizona could be in for another dumpster fire year next year. We'll have to see. Then they get their bye week at the 11th week. Interesting enough, like I said, I did the Patriots episode. Patriots have a bye week, week 11 as well. I would be free that week to just watch some random teams. Let's see. Then after the bye, you got the Saints for the first time. So you get to get first look at Derek Carr. Will Michael Thomas be playing? I don't know. I believe the Saints lost Marcus Davenport in the offseason. How much of a hit does their defense take because of that? Another good game. Following week, you get first look at Aaron Rodgers with the Jets up in New York. It's going to be a tough road game. But once again, at this point, we don't know what Aaron Rodgers may look like. He could be. Actually, I'm going to stop that statement there. We don't know what the Jets will look like at that point. But from sitting here right now, tough game. Then you get the rematch with the Bucs again now. First game was in Tampa Bay. This one being Atlanta. Then you get the division games again. Tampa Bay at Carolina. Bryce Young will probably be better in the second game than opening day. So we'll see if the Falcons will be going for a season sweep or a split at that point. Then you got to look at Anthony Richardson. Look, this schedule is like tailor-made for this Falcons team. So you're seeing Bryce Young, Jordan Love, C.J. Stroud, Sam Howell. Well, Baker Mayfield is new in Tampa Bay, but he's kind of a veteran. You could see Will Levis, whoever Arizona's backup is. You get first, Derek Carr, but he's a veteran again. See Aaron Rodgers' new place. Anthony Richardson. And then following that, you get Justin Fields at Chicago. Chicago, though, had a sneaky, decent offseason. I think the Bears will be better than they were last year, but that's another game that could work in the Falcons' favor. Then they end the season with Carr and the Saints, which, of course, you have to end the season with the Saints with all the hatred between the two teams and fan bases. So I think this is potentially a favorable schedule for the Falcons. Let's be honest. I guess that leads into the next question here. Best case, worst case scenario. Best case, from the way I just read it to you, I think the best case scenario here is Bryce Young in his first year struggles. You sweep the Panthers. Baker Mayfield and the Bucs will be tough to sweep because I think even without Brady, you bring in Baker Mayfield, who played well at the end of last season with the Rams. I don't think the Bucs are going to be terrible this year. So let's say you split with the Bucs. The Saints, same thing. Derek Carr isn't necessarily, didn't make as much noise as the Aaron Rodgers move to the Jets, but I think Carr is a very good quarterback. I just don't know what the Saints will look like necessarily. So let's say you split with the Saints because it seems like the Falcons always split with the Saints. So you're looking at 4-2 in the division. Then, the games where they play the just drafted quarterbacks, let's say you win all of those games. I mean, looking at that, the toughest games on the schedule probably would be the Vikings, but you get that one at home, benefit. The Jets game, that one's in New York. That might be the toughest game on the schedule, to be honest with you. The Jacksonville game in London, I think it's going to be tough because I'm a big believer in this Jacksonville team based off of last season. But outside of that, it's a manageable schedule. So I think the best case scenario, to be honest with you, Falcons win this division. Because, like I said, Bucs are in transition from Brady to Baker Mayfield. The Saints lost some people because of their cap situation. They're bringing in Derek Carr. We got to see what they look like. And then Carolina's going to be starting a rookie quarterback. And like I said, you get games against rookie quarterbacks, which you would think with Arthur Smith's knowledge and all that in the league. They've come with defensive plans to really confuse these young quarterbacks. It's gonna be different. It's gonna be different for them. It's one thing to dominate in college or whatever, but you get to the NFL, it's a learning curve. So, like I said, I think best case they win the NFC South. That means you're getting a top 4 seed in the playoffs. Anything can happen once you make the playoffs. The worst case scenario would be the Panthers and that defense make Ritter look like what a lot of people think, a non-starting quarterback, and you struggle in those games. You get swept by Carolina because of their tough defense and because Bryce Young hits the ground running, looks really good this year. The Baker Mayfield and the Bucks, you can't stop Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Baker Mayfield looks like Oklahoma Baker Mayfield. You get swept by the Bucks. Once again, this is worst case scenario. So Falcons fans, calm down. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. I'm saying this is the worst case. Saints, you still split with the Saints because, like I said, you just always seem to split with the Saints no matter what. So now you're 1 win in the division. You're kind of behind the 8 ball. And then all these rookie quarterbacks, you struggle with their mobility. They feast off you. The season kind of gets away from you, and you end up kind of like last year, 6-7 win team, except for this time, that's not good enough to keep you in the divisional race. And you miss the playoffs again. That'd be the worst case scenario. Like I don't think even with this schedule, like the Falcons will be like a 3-4 win team. I don't think that's possible. So I'm not going to say that's the worst case scenario. So worst case, they miss the playoffs. Desmond Ritter is not the guy, and now you're going into next season trying to find a quarterback. You have Taylor Heineke who's going to back up. So I guess worst case part of that would be Taylor Heineke is now starting multiple games this year because not because of like a Ritter injury or anything, but because Ritter's just not good. That's the worst case scenario. So once again, Falcons fans, NFL fans, whatever, let me know in the comment section if you agree that the best case is the Falcons win this division. Like, if you don't think that's a possible thing, then you let me know why not. But I think that's the best case. And then the worst case is they miss the playoffs. They find out Desmond Ritter's not the guy. Taylor Heineke has to try to save the season multiple times because Ritter's just ineffective. And they're going into next year with quarterback concerns once again. So that's best case, worst case scenario. Which games am I looking forward to? Looking at this schedule, I think the London game with Jacksonville, because for the reasons I said, I think Jacksonville's going to be a really good team. I want to see what Ridley would be able to do against his former team. So that's definitely one game for me. Oh, so like the Patriots episode, I did 3 games I'm looking forward to. So Jacksonville would be one. I think the second game in Carolina, because I think it'd be too much to say the first game with Bryce Young. I think by the second game, Bryce Young will be kind of coming into his own. And I would love to see that game at Carolina because that could be a deciding factor in the division. So I put that as game number 2. And then the third game I'm looking forward to would be at the Jets. I want to see what the Falcons do against Aaron Rodgers in that offense. So those will be the 3 games I'd say I'm looking forward to. Jacksonville game in London, at Carolina, and then at the Jets. Both the Jets and Carolina are in December. There's also, like I said, there's also some good games in between that. Those are the 3 I just went with. So can this team compete for a playoff spot? Yes, I could safely say yes. Now, whether or not it's like them being a legit, really good top tier team in the NFC, but I don't think any team runs away with this division again. I do think the division is a little better because last year, the Bucks won it, what was it, 7-10? Didn't like the whole division finish 7-10, and the Bucks got in because of? No, that can't be it. Hold on. I gotta look this up. I think it was, and the Bucks were might have been 8-9. Yeah, the Bucks are 8-9. I think the Panthers and the Saints and the Falcons, I think they all finished 7-10, but the Bucks are 8-9. So I don't think we're gonna get a repeat of that. I think the division winner is probably more of a 9-win team this year. And why can't that be the Falcons? So yeah, I think they compete for a playoff spot. I would be shocked if they're not in contention for at least the division. If that's their only way into the playoffs, fine. But they should be, at week 18 against the Saints, that game should mean something for the Falcons. It should. So yes, this team can absolutely compete for a playoff spot. I love what they did in the offseason. Maybe love's a stretch, but I like what they did in the offseason. I think the Jesse Bates move at safety, good move. I like the Akuda move as a corner. I'm intrigued by the Jonnu Smith move, pairing him with Kyle Pitts. Hopefully Kyle Pitts plays all season. You get another step in improvement from Drake London. Yeah, this Falcons team could be a playoff team. So, like I said, let me know in the comment section what you think, whether or not you think the Falcons will be competing for the playoffs this year. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. If you did, let me know what you thought about it in the comment section. Or the easiest way to let me know is hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Will let me know you're loving the content. I would appreciate that. Oh, same thing I asked on the Patriots episode. As a Falcons fan, or if you're just an NFL fan who stumbled onto this video, appreciate that as well. Are you purchasing the NFL Sunday Ticket package with YouTube TV? Because we know the NFL Sunday Ticket is now on YouTube TV this year. Let me know if you're buying into it. I believe that is a poll question up on the channel. If it's not, it will be. So make sure you let your opinion be known on the poll question. I will do another episode probably this weekend about the primetime schedule for the NFL, which I guess I have to, good thing I remember that. The Falcons do not have a primetime game this year. It's not the end of the world, to be honest with you. Last season wasn't that great, so the NFL would probably do it this way. But there are opportunities because there's opportunities to flex games late in the year. So maybe the Falcons get one. Maybe Falcons Carolina becomes one. I say both teams fighting for the division. Maybe that becomes a primetime game. So I wouldn't sweat that or say it's like disrespect or anything like that, Falcons fans. Because, like I said, with the flex rules and everything, it could be solved at the end of the year. So not that big of a deal, but just had to let you know that if you didn't know that. They don't have a primetime game this year. Although you could see it on the schedule there. But yeah, so let me know what you think. Really appreciate it. As I always say, be safe out there. God bless. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Actually, get that out of here. All right. I'm out of here. I'll see you.